many hearts have you broken with those great big beautiful eyes? Those great big beautiful eyes that tell such beautiful lies.
How many times have you kissed somebody like you kissed me then? I don't.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and all ships at sea. We interrupt this broadcast to bring you an important message from the Prepared Mind Network.
They want to eliminate what they call the deep state. The deep state is a cadre of professionals dedicated to honoring the Constitution, the laws of this country, and carrying out the policies of the Congress and the President. The deep state dedicated to carrying out the policies of the President. The deep state dedicated to carrying out the policies of the President.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. It is our Wednesday broadcast. And I got to tell you, the deep state, I think we are all starting to see who the deep state is at every level of government all around the world. Look out, folks. It's starting to really smell, right? The nose knows. Oh, good golly. We're going to continue to expose the deep state, all of its players, people who are caught in the middle. Some people are very hard that way. A lot of people like us oppose it. There are people in the middle who try and play it both ways, kind of fool us. But we're no fools, and we're learning every day more and more about the deep state and how it hates us. That's right. Calling all ships at sea, all hands on deck. It is crazy out there. And get your questions in down below. But this is what we're doing today. Today we're going to do the regular 30-minute monologue. 30-minute part 2 is you guys and your question, and we're going to do a bonus section. Man is, well, generously agreed to hang on and do an extra segment on gold and silver and what it means and what it is. It's an investment. It's a savings. It's a hedge, it's protection, it is real wealth, etc. But we'll get into that after the regular show. For those of you who want to hang out. Everyone else, head to the 60-minute mark if you just want to see that. Otherwise, let's have some fun. The other day, I told you all I received a special gift from our good friends at Heritage Metalworks. www.pewter.com, pewter.com. They sent me a new flask with the Marine Corps 250th logo. Again, okay, focus, camera, focus. Oh, focus. Doesn't want to focus. And then they sent me a whiskey flask, of course, but also this keychain, and I didn't realize that on the back of it, it does have the Marine Corps history. I wanted to read this really quick. Give them a shout out yet again because I'm just so damn pleased with them. Tun Tavern, 1673 to 1781, Tun Tavern existed. Tun Tavern is regarded as the traditional birthplace of the United States Marine Corps. Authorized by a resolution of the Continental Congress, November 10th, 1775, Semper Fidelis, Heritage Pewter. Made in the United States of America. And camera focus. It just doesn't want to focus, does it? Well, fuck it. Pewter.com. All right, Mr. Ooman. Just an amazing keychain. Pewter metal, color fill. It's got to be hand filled too because it's a liquid resin put in there. And they do more than just Marine Corps, folks. I believe they do all branches of the service. Okay, for now, though, let's get into the show. And I want to talk about the left-wing media. Suddenly, they've got a problem. Suddenly, after all their, just everything they do to cause hate, division, violence, attacks, etc. Jennifer Welch, who has been described by one media outlet as a, quote, poisonous left-wing podcaster. I don't know who Jennifer Welch is, never really gave a shit if I ever did know. But all of a sudden, she has a deep concern about the divisiveness of American politics and about the toxicity that exists inside this section of the world. Well, gee whiz, Trump has been shot during his campaign for president. Was Kamala Harris shot? Was Joe Biden shot? Was Tampon Timmy Walsh shot? No. No Democrats were shot, not the presidential candidates or anyone in the ticket, even though some enemies of Tampon Timmy Walsh were shot and killed. Dr. Evil. Yeah, Charlie Kirk was shot. Was Piers Morgan shot? Was Don Lemon shot? Were any left-wing podcasters shot by right-wing lunatics and assassinated? Nope. ICE agents have been shot, murdered, assassinated, however you want to put it, attacked, beaten, impeded, interfered with, doxxed, everything. Funny, left-wing government, when Biden was in charge, didn't have any problem, did it? Well, actually, it had protests against it, but that was about it. Death threats to Clarence Thomas, the most conservative Supreme Court judge in there, and other conservative judges were receiving death threats, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But now this bitch, Jennifer Welch, many people call her a bitch. She has decided it's time to be concerned. The media hypocrisy and fucking asinility, they're completely moronic. I don't know if they realize they're gaslighting us or if they truly are bipolar, schizophrenic fuckwads, because they're the toxic ones, divisive, calling for violence, and then they want to stop it. And Piers Morgan trying to play gotcha with the young man Nick Fuentes on his show called Uncensored is all over X today, because he's calling for censorship of people who are being mean and outrageous, right? But he hosts a show called Uncensored. So everyone is attacking him for calling for censorship when he's on a show that's called Uncensored. This is left-wing media. This is left-wing media. A lot of people would say they're beyond retarded. I think that they really think we're stupid, and I don't think they realize how hypocritical, oxymoronic, and fucking bipolar brain dead they are. But speaking of retarded, I wanted to share this with you. It was reported today that the Mexican Supreme Court is going to allow Mexican passport photos of Muslim women wearing the hijab to protect their religious freedoms, no doubt. I guess not wanting to be less retarded than United States federal judges, Mexico is making a run for the most retarded. They're going to allow masked and concealed Muslims to get a passport without having a picture of themselves on the passport. I thought that was the whole purpose of photo IDs, is to have your picture so your name and who you are is on the passport, and the person checking the passport can see who you are, check you against a database of the bad guys. The United States of America, and I guess indeed the whole world, if there's an intelligent country out there, should reject every person with such a picture on their passport, whether it's Mexico or any country. Deny them entry, take down the name they have listed, right? Put them back on the plane from whence they came, put them on a no-fly, no-entry list, and a suspected terrorist list for trying this bullshit to use a passport without a proper photo. I mean, it's bad enough that there's 8 years between photos on a passport. Makes it difficult enough, right? I mean, I kind of look, well, like European descended guy. I look American, I'm sure. American enough, but TSA looks at me, looks at the picture, looks at me, looks at the picture, looks at me. I'm like, what? Do I need to put on the same fucking t-shirt? Anyways, this is the world we live in, folks. Every country is vying to be the most retarded. Even our most intelligent people on the whole planet are pushing for it. The Rhode Island Attorney General fucking snap back at a reporter. Oh, by the way, the Rhode Island Attorney General is a Democrat. Well, because the AG was asked why the pro-Palestinian activist that shot up Brown University, why that person's profiles were scrubbed off the internet. I'll tell you why. Because they hate America. That's why. It's that easy. They hate America, and they're being exposed as the Democrats and the people who support this trash. And they're afraid further exposure for being, anti-American. They don't just want to pretend like, well, we're Americans, we're Democrats, or our party's been around for a long time, and we're Americans. No. You fucking people are trying to destroy this country. And you're anti-American at the Attorney General's office there in Delaware. And fuck, I'm going to just throw a number out here. Prove me wrong. 95% of all U.S. universities are probably anti-American. Now, for those of you who missed the Zero Dark 30 this morning, quick explanation as to why yesterday's show was missed. Had a reaction to a chemical. I had an allergic reaction to a chemical, caused some, we can call them health issues if you want. Made me very, very, very nervous and excited and shaky. Chemicals bad. Be very careful with chemicals. Which, when this happened, it's just a fragrance. A chemical that was in my car, was used in my car. Truck. Imagine and think about all of the food additives, fragrances, natural and unnatural flavors, preservatives, everything that we eat that is not natural could be causing us health issues. Got to be careful, folks. Got to be careful. Now, big news today. Huge news today in the world of international news. I got two really big ones. I want to hit one right here. A big fucking kapow. Israel, folks. News flash. Let me do it. Do I have a news flash button here? Where's my fucking news flash? News flash. There it is. No, that's not a news flash. Well, okay, screw the news flash. Israel is not our greatest ally. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel had this to say, quote, "I demand that Western governments do what is necessary to fight anti-Semitism and provide the required safety and security for Jewish communities worldwide. They would be well advised to heed our warnings. I demand action from them now." Prime Minister from a country that is a shit speck in the middle of a shit speck Middle East. You're going to fucking make demands? Provide required safety and security for Jewish communities? Why are fucking Jewish communities more important than any other community? We have little girls being kidnapped, drugged, raped, sold into slavery, sold into prostitution in England. I don't hear Netanyahu saying a fucking word about them. But we need to worry about Jewish communities with the required safety for Jewish communities, the required security. Why do they deserve anything better than anyone else? The rest of us get fucked all the time. But Netanyahu is going to do that? Oh. But wait, there's more. Also, Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu He had the fucking balls, the temerity, the chutzpah, huh? The unmitigated fucking chutzpah to come out and say the United States would not exist if it weren't for the Jews. Listen, jackass. Israel did not exist before 1948. So how is Israel and Jews responsible for the free republic of these United States established in 1776, a nation populated exclusively at that time with Christians? Any day now. Let's go, Bibi. Let's fucking hear it. We're waiting. Netanyahu's name isn't Netanyahu, folks. Netanyahu is European. I believe Hungarian, Polish. Fuck, I can't even remember. That's not his name. Netanyahu's not his name. It's Miliakowski or some shit like that. They changed their fucking names. They immigrated to Israel. They fucking stole the land under an agreement that was created by England. They took refuge in Palestine, which had its own flag prior to the current Jewish Israeli population, stole the fucking land and have been fighting with them ever since, committing acts of terror, including acts of terror to draw the United States military in by bombing the United States military with the Lavon affair, other terror attacks, as well as the USS Liberty. Not our greatest ally. Now is threatening us and telling us, we brought you into this world, we'll take you out. Shit like that. Oh yeah, folks. You need to learn who these fucking people are. Literally. My next important story of the day is Russia. Russia. Putin came out and has just really told Europe exactly where they belong. First off, though, Europe is engaged in a wild-ass, harebrained scheme to steal the billions of frozen Russian assets and try and move them into their bank accounts. Luckily, that has failed so far and helped that not be a financial reality. Folks, European leadership is a failure. It is aligned with anti-Western banking, and by Western, I mean Europe and America. European leadership is aligned, folks, with anti-Western banking, anti-Western religions, in other words, anti-Christian religions, and anti-European culture. And the European Union has failed the world as its true colors show how they want to steal money for themselves. Crazy business out there, folks. Crazy business. And it's just going to get worse with these fucking people. Putin came out and he said, hey, look, you people have been screwing with us, right? He actually called the European leadership little piggies or piglets, depending on how you translate the Russian, for attempting to use Ukraine to try and take on and destroy Russia. And understand this. Putin said, hey, look, Russia has now reclaimed eastern Ukraine, which used to be a part of Russia. We are reclaiming that which was ours. We're protecting our ethnic people that live there. They have decided they want to be a part of Russia, not Ukraine. And the world is outraged with him for saying that. Oh, yeah. But at the same time, Israel, which wasn't a country, was created by sending a bunch of Ashkenazi Jews down to Palestine in 1948. And ever since then, Israel has been an attempt to take Palestine from the Palestinians and kick them out. And we're seeing a whole lot of that right now in the news, are we not? And that's land that those people from Europe never had. So Russia takes land that was once theirs, and they're hated for it. But the Israelis are taking land that was never theirs. And their allies in Europe and their allies in Washington, D.C. have no problems with it. Isn't that funny? Isn't that interesting? Fucking weird what is going on, folks. Are you prepared for what's coming next? Because there's a lot more coming. I want to share this story because this upset me when I saw it. There was an old lady. She's working in a Target store, a store which I won't shop in, by the way. But she's an old lady, and she was wearing a red shirt that said freedom on it, like Charlie Kirk. It was a Charlie Kirk kind of memorial type shirt. She's working at Target in Chico, California. I live north of Chico. I was like 2 hours away from Chico. It's kind of a rural town, but it's also a California college town. But some crazed lunatic bitch was filming and psychologically battering, insulting this nice, old, elderly lady. Looked like Mrs. Claus to me. Well, the Uno reverse card has been played. That video went viral, not in the Democrat world, but in our world, the world that says we love America. Uno reverse card. And now the Chico police have launched an investigation into this lunatic Democrat nurse's verbal attack on a little old lady, a Target employee. Police are investigating the case, investigating this incident in case there were further threats or maybe even actual violence against this granny. And the nurse's place of work, because it was revealed who she was, what city she lived in, and where she worked. Uno reverse card played again. Her place of work has been overloaded with calls complaining about this bitch nurse and whether or not she mistreats her other patients, or any patients, especially those who might be conservative, might be old, right? And she, this nasty bitch, right, and her husband, apparently they have a lot of domestic abuse issues at home, maybe, allegedly. Apparently the police log is full of that. Maybe not full, but instances of it. But she and her husband are asshats who pose in front of Republican cars and point to their neck if it's Trump, Trump stickers. That was stupid. She is now paying a huge price for being a Christmas crunt. And Uno reverse card played. The war has started, my friends. That's what I want to say here. The war has started. The war between political sides. What I called years and years and years ago, partisan conflict. The conflict is there. It's getting louder. It's political. It's medical. It's religious. It's moral. It is everything that a war is, except for outright violence and killing. But I do believe that is coming. It really is. I believe it's coming. It's not going to be long. I don't know how long, but I think it's coming. Oh my God, folks, this war. And it's funny. Well, interestingly, over in the United Kingdom, the government has gotten involved in it. The government's a big player in it because it's picking sides. The United Kingdom is sided with left-wing radical fucknuts because they now have Islamophobia, anti-Muslim hatred definitions. Oh, yeah. And someone asked the question, is this a further erosion of free speech? Look, folks, you and I know that when a person has to wonder if they can address any topic, any subject, be it political, religious, monetary, medical, if you can't question any fucking topic and discuss it openly, there is no fucking free speech, period. End of story. England is an occupied nation. And it's serving two different foreign interests that are not Christian, by the way. I know it. Many people know it. You probably know it. And the truth is going to come out. It always does. Look up Kalergi, Kalergi. And of course, do some more research on Islam if you want, right? Yeah, the Kalergi plan. What a plan. British, my friends, wake up. If you're Scots, yell your Scottish war cry and wake up. The Irish, wake up. If you're British, yell Hail Britannia and start fighting for your freedom. The sides are picked. The enemies are known. They will not change their minds. This is going to come down to fighting. Now, when it comes to free speech in America, oh yeah, we had a close call with COVID. Oh yeah, cerveza bug. And the Jim Jones juice, yes, the vaccine. We weren't allowed to talk about COVID. Even if you repeated the exact fucking words the CDC put out and the government put out and the news put, if I quoted them just saying COVID, just saying vaccine, got videos taken down. We were silenced. When there's a topic that you cannot discuss, no matter what it is, if it is censored and silenced, you know they don't have an argument. They are not legitimate. They are probably fucking evil, and they're using their power to silence me and you. Because they can't win in the arena of ideas. They're fucking liars. Now, in the UK, you can't say shit about Muslims or Islam or rape or anything else. You can't criticize any of that. Nope. In America, they're now trying to silence us. Just like Netanyahu once. They're trying to make anti-Semitism a crime. How is that a fucking crime? I am allowed. It's called the First Amendment. Is everyone familiar with the First Amendment? I'm pretty sure we're all pretty much familiar with the First Amendment, right? Yeah, it's pretty simple, I think. Let's see if I can find it in here, right? It's right there it's what's known as the Bill of Rights. You know, this cute little book, so simple, so small. Yeah. Bill of Rights, page 45 even. Oh, yeah. First Amendment even. They felt it was more important than guns even. Let's see. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion. That would be Judaism. Right there. And Islam. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech. Abridging. Screwing with. Tinkering with. Limiting. Censoring. Taking away. Fucking with. Criminalizing. Punishing. Shall I continue? Or of the press, which includes everything we use as the press. Internet, paper, text, email, fucking cardboard signs, right? Or the right of the people peaceably to assemble, meaning you can hold a protest. You can gather at a church, a park, the beach, your front fucking yard, your backyard, inside your house, outside your house, at a store that allows it as part of their system, at a restaurant as part of their system, at a meeting place, a conference center, peaceably, not setting the fucking planet on fire, not committing acts of violence, murder, looting, burning, peaceably. And to petition the government for a redress of grievances, meaning we can say whatever the fuck we want, especially directly to the government. Very interesting. The Israelis, under their leader, who not all Israelis and Jews love, by the way, folks, and that's important to understand. The leader of Israel is a Jew. He's also a Zionist. He's also anti-Christian. He's also anti-American. He's also anti-freedom. He's anti-free speech. He's anti-everything that you and I rely on for our lives and our safety, our security, and our prosperity. And he wants to say states, and he's referred to United States, individual states passing laws and rules. Sorry, the First Amendment trumps, pun intended, Netanyahu and all of Israel. We are not a Judeo-Christian nation. We are American. The early Americans were Christians, not Judeo-Christian. The Schofield Bible was set up as a fucking trick and a trap to pull Americans into believing that we're supposed to support this made-up, manufactured bullshit plastic banana country called Israel, and that we are supposed to place ourselves second to Jews. Not true. Absolutely not true. If you go to the New Testament and you go read all of that Jesus guy, read his quotes. He doesn't say a lot of nice things about the Jews, folks. And the Jews, go on the internet, go on X and type in, Christians in Israel. Search for it. And you'll see exactly how the Jews of Israel treat Christians. They spit on them. They assault them. They threaten to kill them. They tell them they need to be killed. They reveal exactly who they are and what they believe through their Zionist, Talmudic, Judaic beliefs. It is becoming more and more well known. Now, I wouldn't give a shit about Israel and what it's doing way the fuck over there. What bothers me is this is the United States of America. We have a constitution. We have a republic, a limited set of laws, limited against the government, not limiting us. It is our country. Yet they're interfering in our country. They're criminalizing us. They're using their money to influence our politics. They are bringing over people here to destroy our culture, to start fights. And it is part of a well-known, well-understood, time-tested trick and technique to divide a nation and conquer it so that they can place themselves in positions of authority and take over the value of land, money, control networks, manufacture, everything. This is a plan being played out. And it's not the first time. It's been tried under many other names. Basically, socialist, communist, Marxist nations play by this same rule book. The truth is going to come out, folks. And if not your ass, at least your mind. The truth will set you free. The rest is up to all of us to free our nation by holding our, shall we say, elected representatives accountable and holding them to account by texting, writing, emailing, calling, messaging them every chance you get and telling them America first. It's not anti-Israel. It's America first. It's not anti-Palestine. It's America first. It's not anti-Russia or anti-Europe. It's America first. In fact, the Russians, as a Christian nation, kicked the banking cartel out. Putin did. And that's why they don't like him. They're not controlling the Russian culture, monetary system, fiscal system, none of it. And they don't like it. They want control. They want their revenge against Russia, my friends. Let us continue, if we shall. Oh, holy bananas. I went a little long because it was such interesting information, but let's do this. Let us now adjourn, if we shall, to the inner circle. And after 60 minutes, we're going to switch over to the topics of wealth, gold, silver, and the state of the forum on those topics. And we're back. I wonder how much do you guys want to discuss today? I'm sure if you have any gold and silver questions you want to bring up, you can put them in now. Oliver will set them off to the side for us. But what do you want to discuss with regard to all other things? Political, monetary, national. Here we go. C checks in and says, I dare say they're using our money to influence our politics with all the money we gave them. This is becoming more and more transparent, see? user technic, all those numbers, that also is just known as the letter C. Okay. Yes, we send our country, the United States of America, the government in Washington, D.C. anyways, takes your money out of your wallet with a gun pointed to your head and says, this is taxes. And they put all our money in a pile. And then they send a very generous portion, billions of dollars a year, over to Israel. Why? For what purpose? If they're such a good nation and so smart and prosperous and creative and intelligent, shouldn't they be able to take care of themselves? Israel is loaded with billionaires, like the billionaires that fund Trump and his campaign. I used to believe that those billionaires were either Republican or Democrat. How naive of me years and years and years ago to think that. No, those billionaires that are Israelis, they fund both parties so that no matter who wins, they have control and influence, etc. So I think the big contributor to Trump was Miriam Adelson, a seemingly nice old lady. $250 million. Did I read that number? Wow. In any event, yes, we send money to them, and then somehow magically money gets funneled back into AIPAC, the America-Israeli, and I call it a political action committee. I know that they have different letters for it, but it just doesn't roll off the tongue like American-Israeli Political Action Committee. And then they donate money to American politicians in both parties, but they're not listed as a foreign registered agent. But I think we all agree and understand, those who are familiar with this process of sending our money overseas against our wishes and will, and having that money come back to our country and buy off our politicians to support more Israeli stuff. Yeah, I think it is becoming very transparent, very obvious that that's how it works. Much like Ukraine, our country sent how many hundreds of billions of dollars to Ukraine? And who was it? I can't remember who it was, but they went to, I believe it was either Monte Carlo or Monaco. I think it was Monte Carlo. They literally said, hey, look, the city, super wealthy. It's full of supercars, cars that cost $200,000, $500,000, $1 million, like 2/3 of them all were registered Ukraine. All of the money that went to Ukraine fled Ukraine, bought nice cars, and drove their happy asses to the richest places in the world. I'm willing to bet that they stole that money. But a lot of that money also was funneled back to United States politicians, buying influence. I mean, wouldn't it be great if you and I could tell J.P. Morgan Bank, Goldman Sachs, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, HSBC, Citibank, take your fucking pick, the top 10 banks, and say, you guys all send your money to my friend. Send it to Uman. Send Uman $100 billion. And then Uman can go, hey, thanks, I really needed that money. And now I'm going to send money back to us, all of us, you, me, us. Right? We told the banks, give the money to Uman. Uman gives us money. We're like, hey, that's a great deal. We have all the power. We make a command. They fucking follow it. We get paid off for it. It's a nice circle, is it not? Thank you, C, for the great topic. Mr. Uman, who is next? And we've got bump. Oh, wait a minute. I want to continue. I want to take C's comment and go a little further with it, please. I want to say, fuck the Washington, D.C. United States Senate. They passed a $900 $100 billion defense spending package, which funds Ukraine. They're also telling Pete Hegseth, Secretary of War, that they're going to withhold his budget if the Venezuelan drug boat strike videos are not released. I thought they've been released. They're not happy with him. But folks, get this. They want to transfer your tax money to Ukraine, to a homosexual tyrant who has a passport picture. There's a passport with his picture on it saying he's an Israeli. While this homosexual tyrant in Ukraine, freezes the funds and arrests Christian priests and media that wants to expose what's going on. And this homosexual tyrant with an Israeli passport, allegedly real, is committing Ukrainian genocide against his own people by sending them to the front line to be destroyed by the Russians. But the Senate of the United States wants no war with an actual nation, a drug cartel nation, Venezuela, that is sending boatloads of drugs up here to kill Americans and destroy our lives as best they can. That's called a narco war. And they're also allegedly bribing American senators and congressmen with the proceeds from this drug money. Amazing that Congress, the senators, don't want us to go fight with Venezuela. But they do want to send money all the way over to Ukraine. They don't want to stop Venezuela because allegedly, according to somebody who escaped Venezuela, says the government there is sending money to American politicians, laundering it so that they can control things and continue to fuck with America, our world, to divide and conquer us, weaken us, ruin our nation's morals, culture, traditions, so that they can take over. Good golly, I know that's a fucking mouthful. All right, Mr. Uman, where shall we go next? What are we going to discuss? Woo! We got Diving Frog says, John, the Democrats are losing their minds. Apparently, so many people have moved to red states that the electoral votes will be taken from them and they're losing control and won't regain it. Yes, this is an excellent phenomenon. You could say I'm an example of this. I lived for 50 odd years in California, minus my time in the Marine Corps. And people kept saying, John, why don't you get out of that fucking state? California is awful. And I just said, hey, I got to finish raising my sons. And then I'm out. And I am. And I'm now, after my stint in the RMZ, in the jungle there, I'm a Floridian. And I have been, and happily so. It is a red state. And this state and many other red states have been inundated, unfortunately in a lot of ways, but inundated with, refugees from Democrat states like California, Oregon, Washington, Illinois, New York, other New England states. And yeah, so they're losing population. They still have all their fucking Democrats, but no more, electoral college votes, because all of those red votes which were being nixed by all the Democrats and cheating by the fucking Democrats in California, Washington, Oregon, Illinois, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, New York, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, New Jersey, right? You know the score. So all those votes are coming to other states, which means we need to have a reallotment or redistribution and fix the electoral college, right? States need to get their shit together and make sure this works. But yeah, the Democrats are losing. They're losing their own states. And that's why they want to bring in all these illegals. That's another benefit to them, is they bring them in and give them all kinds of free shit as the state goes in the tank in debt. But they're buying votes. I think that if you're on welfare, whether it's an EBT card, food stamps, any sort of government assistance where they directly fund your life, pay your rent as Section 8, give you housing, you don't get to vote. Because that shows that there is not an arm's length between you and the people in government. Right? In other words, you're bought and paid for, or the argument can be made that you're bought and paid for if you're receiving government assistance. Hey, you want to vote? Get off of government assistance. They won't do that in blue states. Red states need to look that shit up. I don't like to pay taxes to someone else so they can vote for people to continue to take my fucking money. See what I'm saying? Do you want to pay people to take more money from you? Of course not. Mr. Uman, what is up next? Not a bot. Lynn says, can't we all just get along? That's a very famous quote, by the way. Very famous quote from Rodney King. That's right. The back in the 90s, we had the Rodney King incident where several policemen decided they were going to play baseball with their batons and beat the ever-loving shit out of a black man whose name was Rodney King. It came out later during all of the protests and riots and all that bullshit and said, can't we all just get along? The answer is, yeah, we can. We can all just get along, regardless of color. But everyone has to get along. You can't have one group of people, let's just say conservative blacks and whites, saying, let's just get along. Well, on the other hand, you've got Democrats who are black and white saying, fuck you, and they attack us. Antifa, BLM, etc. It doesn't work. Getting along requires cooperation and, well, justice and law-abiding behavior by all sides, including the government. Ah, yes, folks. I can smell it in the air. The violence is coming. And we can't all get along, though, if we're different religions. I think that needs to be understood. And different cultures. I think that needs to be understood. It needs to be debated. It needs to be explained. And it needs to be acted upon, in my opinion. If there's a religion out there that says it hates Christianity, guess what? It cannot get along with others. Now, how do you prove that? Well, you look to, both history and current events, and you'll find out who cannot get along with other religions. That would be what? Zionism and Islam. They both think they're superior. They both call for the death of everyone else, or the enslavement, or the sexual enslavement, or the robbing and the murder. Yeah. I will just come out and say it. That's what their teachings say. And if you listen to the imams, which are Muslim priests, or the rabbis, which are basically Jewish priests, right? That's their version of priest. They teach their people. They tell their people, and you can get the videos off of the internet anywhere. It's publicly available information. The only difference is most people do this. La, la, la. I don't want to hear it. And they don't listen to what these fucking people are telling us they believe and what they're doing. We can all just get along. Culture. Is your culture one that likes, homosexuality, transgenderism, cross-dressing, drag queens, and pedophilia? If your culture has those elements, that is not something we want to invite into a nation that is moral, decent, and prosperous, because those elements are the antithesis of it. They take advantage of the weak. They bring down the moral fiber and productivity because it focuses life not on productivity and being decent, but rather on your sexual identity. Right? And then, of course, protecting innocence. Children are the most innocent amongst us. Children get to inherit, right, the country they live in. So if these other religions and cultures and traditions come in and say, let's demoralize, literally demoralize a country by taking its morals away and abusing children and women also because they're physically more easily dominated. Just watch the videos of women being assaulted and beat on and read the stories of their rapes. You'll find out what these other cultures think of them. Okay, let us move on if we shall. I've basically got my hackles up, folks, because the enemies aren't just in other countries. Now they're in our country. They're in England. They're in Canada. They're in Australia. They're in Scotland. They're in Ireland. They're in Wales. They're on the European continent, and they're destroying everything as fast as they fucking can. Now, Not a Bot Lynn says, did the untouchables, the Democrats, get their way with health care for illegals? I was out most of the day today. I don't know. I have no idea. I know they wanted to make sure that there was free health care for illegal aliens who came here illegally by breaking the fucking law. They should not. I know a lot of Republicans would love to vote for that because they're sellout, turncoat pieces of false rhino Democrat trash, pretending to be Republicans. But they'll do and say what is popular so they get elected. But they'll always vote for more destruction if they can sneak. I don't know, Not About Lynn. I have to apologize for that. It's been a very busy day between work and a lot of the other things that, well, I was being confronted with. Woo! Like this. Like the British general that told families in England that they need to be ready to lose their sons and daughters in the upcoming war against Russia. What upcoming war against Russia? Did Russia invade England? You know, fucking Putin made a joke about that. Fucking Putin. He comes out and says, look, if we wanted to invade England, it would be no problem. He says they can't even stop illegals coming across the channel in rubber rafts. What makes them think they can stop us? Yeah, I don't think Putin has that in his mind, but he certainly wanted to, well, trigger and troll them, and he did a hell of a job at that today. All right, let's continue, Mr. Uman. We got about 7 minutes left, and then we're going to switch over to gold and silver. Uman says, rumors are circulating that Trump is going to declare war on Venezuela in his speech tonight. Yes, everybody, let's pay attention. Trump says he has a major announcement this evening. Why fucking do that? Why do that? Just come out, right? Come out. Tap the microphone. Hey, is this thing on? Hey, you guys know me. I'm the president, Trump. By the way, this is what we're going to do. Everyone, put on your seatbelts. It's going to get real. Whatever the announcement. Instead of playing these games, you know, I got a major announcement. And then he comes out and goes, buy my meme coin. That's your fucking announcement? That happened one time. Fucking ridiculous. Wow. Yeah, we're going to find out. Uman, I guess we'll be paying attention to that, won't we? All right. Diving Frog says, hey, John, how is it that paramedics at Bondi Beach have time to put fake blood on a guy who was supposedly shot? Look, there's a bottle of fake blood right there on the table while being applied. Yeah. Oh, this would be the Israeli dude who was also a survivor of the October 7th massacre. A massacre in which Israeli helicopters and military shot and missile attacked and drone attacked Israelis to up the body count. Oh, yeah. Even in Israeli parliament, they talk about this subject. You will not see NBC, MSNBC, CNBC, DNC, ABC, CBS, Fox, Headline News Network, CNN. You won't hear any of them talking about that. I doubt Newsmax will either. Maybe I'm wrong. Someone let me know. But the same guy This guy who just recently moved over there to Australia was attending a Jewish gathering at Bondi Beach. Kind of like Pam Bondi, Bimbo Bondi. Yeah, he was covered in blood. His whole head covered in blood, his face, his arm, and he managed to take a selfie of himself. That'll be used for, Israeli propaganda purposes. Guess what? They actually, he's got all these bandages on him, like around him, like he's got the old, I got a toothache bandage, and this one I'm a mummy bandage. And then he still got some blood on his face, but the bandages were white. If you're bleeding heavily and someone just put some fucking gauze bandage on your head, it's going to bleed through. Especially when it's so severe that you've got blood running down your face. I've seen lots of blood, folks. I've been bloodied. It's a fucking mess. I get it. It's a mess, but just because you put a bandage on doesn't make it stop. It continues to fucking bleed. Anyways, this jackass shows up in a fucking hospital bed or a movie set. I don't know which. They take a picture of him with another Israeli guy to show, hey, look at this guy. He's a champ and a survivor. They took the bandage off and got a picture of him. Whoops. It's a miracle. It's a miracle. He is healed. Hallelujah. Demons out. Right? This fucking guy's head is in perfect condition. No blood, no scars. Like if you're going to bleed down your face, the cut has to be up here so it can run down your head into your face. If the cut is like on the back of his head, how the fuck did it get all over? I mean, these fucking people. It was a false flag, in my opinion, based on the fact that the shooter had 20 minutes unmolested before the cops. Before a fucking Muslim tackled him. People are getting shot, and other people are just standing around looking. One guy is sitting in a fucking lawn chair, watching the shooter attack everyone with shot after shot after shot. Unbelievable. Fuck. I tell you. And folks, look, when the day comes, no more tears or excuses are allowed from these left-wing fucknuts. Right? I mentioned Jennifer Welch earlier. Right? She's claiming that Charlie Kirk, his assassination, was justified by guess who? None other than Charlie Kirk himself. And you know what? I've decided I'm going to stay calm. I'm going to sit back. I'm good with all of these Democrat attacks and justification for the violence. I want all the Democrats to know. Good. I'm good with it. Keep it coming. Keep inspiring and allowing illegals to attack people on the streets of America and indeed around the world. Keep it up. I want them to keep it up. Not because I want people dead. Not because I want the law skirted. Not because I want justice not to be served. Because I want the slumbering giant to wake up. To be offended so bad that once they wake up and action is taken, it will not stop. Right? I don't want people to wake up, scream and yell, and all of the moles and trolls run back into their caves and hide and pretend like they were never for this shit. We weren't for children getting their genitals cut off. We weren't for children becoming sex toys of teachers and perverts and freaks and billionaires. We weren't for bringing in Muslims and other people from around the world to destroy our country, suck up our social services, take our fucking money, and shit all over us, including the streets. No, I want people to keep getting hurt and offended so much that they wake up and go, you know what? We're not going to allow you to go hide and change your story. We're going to fucking eliminate the world of people like you. Because I think that is a better solution than chasing these people so that they shut up and hide. It'll be bloody, like all real, how do I say this? Human movements for freedom. Right? The American Revolution wasn't won with a debate or an act of parliament. It wasn't It wasn't a victory because some politician spoke. Not even the patriots, the patriarchs, the founding fathers, and all their speeches. None of that had any fucking effect on the King of England, his governors, his judges, or his entire military superpower. You know what stopped the fucking English? Not a speech, not frustration, not a letter. It was the blood of the British being spilled so much from 1776 all the way into the 1780s that they finally had to quit and just get the fuck out of the country. That is how you win and free yourself from tyranny, whether it's political tyranny, monetary tyranny, cultural tyranny, traditional tyranny, or fucking religious tyranny. The only way is to get them out of your country. That's it. That's it. So I want people to continue to feel it. To feel it. Oh, the FBI now claims it did not believe it had probable cause to go to Mar-a-Lago and raid Trump's estate, but they did. They raided Trump's estate because of, well, Biden's Department of Justice, they're saying. So the FBI is claiming it did not believe it needed to be there, but they were politically motivated by Biden's Department of Justice and Attorney General. So what they're saying now, what the FBI is now saying is that the FBI under Biden and Merrick Butlick Garland and Christopher Wray politically attacked Trump and his estate. So they had no real probable cause, but they showed up anyway with dozens of agents, machine guns at the ready, and they went through Melania's panty drawer, and they went into Barron Trump's room and fucked with it. They planted evidence, and they lost in court. But hey, they're kind of sorry because they said so. They're a little bit anyway sorry, right? So just leave them alone, okay? Right? Because they didn't really believe it. They just did it. This sounds like exactly what a sellout, bunch of bootlicking, tyrannical, lying, fucking, just fucks in the FBI did. And then later they want to do a half-hearted apology. Well, we didn't really believe it, but you know. Okay, folks, that's it. I would go through here. Let me do this. The show is not ending, but I got to do this. I'm going to give you the regular outro, and then we're going to talk gold and silver. But I'm not going away. The show's not over. All right, and we're back. We're back for the bonus, the special, the gold and silver special. Uman, you are invited if you wish to come on screen and speak your mind. Anyone, if you've got questions regarding money, monetary policy, fiscal policy, economics, gold, silver, if you want to discuss Bitcoin, but the show is about gold and silver, but there are tertiary topics that spread off of the subject. Something incredible is going on right now, and it's not just America, it's the whole world. I've got absolutely zero links prepared for this. This is all coming from the noggin, if you will. Uman says, after setting a new high today, silver hit $67.18 an ounce. An ounce. 1 ounce of silver, by the way, will buy you a barrel of oil. An ounce of silver will buy you a barrel of oil, and you'll get $8 back in change. And gold closed at $43.71 I believe that's an all-time high closing for gold, and we're at an all-time high closing for silver at $66.47. Now, depending on what time of the day they started and stopped all the tickers, you know, my Yahoo ticker says silver was up $3.12 today, or 4.92%. Uman is showing 4.94. Funny thing is we both use Yahoo and we get little different numbers. Go ahead and put that up if you would, Mr. Uman. Silver is now up 125%. Let's just round up to the nearest whole percent. 125% year to date. Gold is up 64% today, year to date. Year to date. It's December, so it's almost the year. But as we can see, it can go up immensely in a single day. So there's questions we ask as human beings, and they're good ones. And they usually start with how, where, what, why, when, and who, right? A lot of W's in there. Why is it doing this? What happened? I am not going to take credit for what's going on. I can't take credit for making all these discoveries that have helped me since 2016 understand what's going on and get prepared as much as I could for what's coming. My family owned gold mining property in the 80s. So I've always been close to gold. But I always had an affinity for some fucking reason and like silver, right? It's kind of like the little brother of gold. Some people say the retarded son. But I wanted to buy a bunch of silver after the year 2000, right? After the millennial changeover there. I never could really until after my divorce, and my money was my money, and family money that I inherited was mine. And I put everything I had into the little bit of silver that I have. And it was back when silver was under $20. It is now over $60 plus premium. And the premium right now is about anywhere from $6 to $10 an ounce to get the physical in your hand. And that's what's going on. There is a problem. There's a huge problem with the currency, money, the US dollar. And if you're in Japan, the yen. If you're in China, the renminbi. If you're in India, the rupee. Or if you're in Russia, the ruble. All around the world, people have realized money or currency, paper, is losing its value, its purchasing power, faster than they can make it. But something like gold and silver is where you put your money to use, to work, to preserve your wealth. So in the last, 8 years or so of my life, this is more than tripled in its value. Piece of silver. Gold back then, when I first started looking at silver and gold, was $1,200 to $1,500 an ounce. It is tripled in that time as well. Just this year alone, though, silver is way up. And gold is still going up, in case you haven't noticed. And it is poised for a breakout, sitting at its all-time high again. And gold's a little slower. Gold is like a tank, right? It's big, it's heavy, and it moves at its own pace, but it's unstoppable. It just keeps mowing and going. Silver, it runs really fast and hard. And it catches its breath like a rabbit. And then it runs really fast and catches its breath. And so it's running and it is going up, folks. Why? Right? Who, where, what, why, when? All these questions. Right now, banks are buying gold. They're hoarding gold. They're buying all they can off the market. They're not just trading paper contracts. They're not just speculating on the value. They want to hold the physical, because it is now a reserve asset that banks are going to have to settle international trade. So what's this deal with silver, though? What's this deal with the silver? Well, it's not just money, and it's actually arguably been money longer than gold, believe it or not. In fact, a lot of countries, their languages, the word silver means money. Money, silver, silver, money. Silver is being consumed in industry. 1 ounce of silver in every big solar panel. Ounces of silver are going to go into batteries for automobiles, EVs, electric vehicles. It is used in regular cars, but even more is used in EVs. It's being used in the military. It's been reported widely 500 of these 1-ounce coins to make one Tomahawk missile. And so in the EVs, in the missiles, in the solar panels, once that solar is used, also your telephone, your cell phone, your smartphone, your computer, all electronics use silver. Nuclear power plants, the reactors are loaded with silver. It's being consumed. It's being consumed at a rate faster than it can be produced. Silver's been taken out of our money, currency, coinage, but they can't produce it faster than they're using it. So there's a shortage. There's a shortage above ground, and there's now a shortage in the ground. And countries like Russia, China, and India are now telling their people, their citizens, buy not just gold, but also silver. India has now monetized silver by saying, if you own silver and you need money, you don't have to sell your silver to get money. You can use it as collateral in a loan. So you keep your silver and hold it, but you get money and you can pay that money back. Now, of course, you don't pay back your loan. They'll take your silver. But it's monetized nonetheless. Hell, folks, 5 years ago, gold was only worth 50% of its value to a bank. They changed that with the new Basel III rules. Gold is now a 100% reserve asset that a bank can hold and use to pay off debts, secure loans, etc. But India, interestingly, with 1.4 billion people, has decided that they can use their silver, not just gold, but silver as collateral for loans. Fascinating shit going on. Now, I've talked about silver for about 10 minutes. What I want to do is know if you guys have something to discuss. Uman brought up some statistics, some numbers here. What is going on? Who is doing it? Why? Why is it all of a sudden taking off when it's just sat there flat as a pancake for years? What is causing this? Mr. Uman, anything in particular? Or do we, here we go. Okay, this is interesting. Bitcoin shitcoin is also having problems. Currently, right now, it's down to $86,000 a coin. There are warnings that if Japan raises their interest rates Friday, 2 days from now, it can fall another 20%. 20% of 86,000 is about $16,000. That can take it down to, well, $70,000 a Bitcoin. The fresh air will disappear into thin air, says Mr. Uman. Now, here's the deal. Bitcoin is a speculative asset, but it's an asset that you can never touch. It's hidden within computers. Bitcoin has no utility. It doesn't do anything. The only thing that's giving Bitcoin value is someone else's willingness to pay you for what you have. So they were at one point, not too many months ago, willing to pay up to $125,000 for one Bitcoin. People are no longer willing to pay $125,000 for one electronic code that has no purpose other than to be able to give that code to another person. And then it's of no value or use to them unless they sell it to someone else. They say it's a store of wealth. I say it's a store of confidence or a store of faith. As long as people have faith and confidence in it and they're willing to trade it for money of equal value, it retains that value. If someone says, I'll pay you even more, now the value goes up and up. That's known as, in the world of fiat, the greater fool theory. As long as people are willing to pay more for it, right, it'll go up in value. When they were willing to pay less for it, it goes down in value. The reason Bitcoin is interesting is it has spawned a myriad of other coins, meme coins, but I think there is a place where things are going to go, and why I think that this electronic Bitcoin or cryptocurrency stuff is going to actually work, because it'll have utility, it'll have purpose, and where that is in gold or silver backed coins. Let's just say there's this thing called an ETF, an exchange traded fund, or you can invest in gold and silver through a monetary instrument, a stock. You can buy a lot of silver or a lot of gold or a little bit, and you can sell it back for currency, but its value is supposed to be based on the value of the underlying asset, aka silver and gold. Gotcha, Mr. Uman. So they're saying, well, a meme coin or an electronic currency has no value unless it's wrapped in, right? It's wrapped around something real. I believe that a lot of the exchange or currency, cryptocurrency, is going to have value as long as it's backed by something real, something that has value, something that can be audited and proven to exist. So if there's only so much silver in the world and it's very scarce and the value goes way up, well, guess what? If that happens, right, then let's just say they say there's 1 million ounces of silver in a meme coin that's a silver-backed coin, and people trade that. Well, it has value. I won't ever use those, by the way, unless I can go to that company and say, you know what? I enjoyed using it electronically to transfer, to both pay for and receive payment for things, but I want the actual physical metal. Provide that to me upon demand. Then you know it's real. That's what the paper dollar for silver and the $20 gold bill. It was it was a gold note. Oh, here we go. Yeah, you used to be able to get, there were silver certificates or gold certificates. You could take that to the bank, that paper, and they would give you gold or silver coin. Then you knew that money was real and it was backed by something, unlike tulip bulbs, pet rocks, or garbage pail kids. Let's start with garbage pail kids. It was a joke, a toy. Cabbage Patch Kids or Garbage Pail Kids. People bought them and traded them and thought they had value, like a Pokemon card. But it was only of value to people who wanted them. And when the charm wore off of such things, the value went away. Pet rock. Pet rock was another joke, right? They took a rock and they painted some eyeballs on it as a joke, sold it as a pet rock, and people paid money for rocks, right? And then the banks around the world, this is like 25 years ago, were saying that gold is a pet rock. It's a barbaric relic of the past. But gold and silver are not just pet rocks or shiny rocks. They have value again. Silver especially is going to go up like crazy, because not only is it a precious metal that is rare and used in jewelry and beautiful and as a store of wealth, but it's also industrial and being consumed. It has much value because of its rarity and is becoming more rare. But tulip bulbs, many people don't know that hundreds of years ago in Denmark, the Netherlands, Amsterdam, tulips, the bulbs, were being traded as a type of currency, money, and the value kept going up and up and up and up and up. People kept thinking they're more and more value. My goodness, they're incredibly valuable. How about that? They're so valuable. And they bought all these fucking tulip bulbs and the price went up. But it still really it wasn't money. One of the things about money is it has to be fungible. It has to be, it can be broken into smaller units. It has to be durable, meaning lasting. But tulip bulbs only create flowers. And the tulip craze or tulip mania went away. And all of a sudden it was only worth a flower again. And everyone who poured money into it, like people who have poured money into Bitcoin, at $125,000 a coin, it's becoming worth less. In some cases, these fake currencies like Garbage Pail Kids or Pet Rocks or Tulip Bulbs become virtually worthless, period. They're worth nothing more than the paper the Garbage Pail Kid card was, or the value of the rock, or the value of one flower. And one final note on Bitcoin is when you see a Bitcoin, you don't really see one. When we see a Bitcoin, it is an artificial construct. It's not really a coin, but they'll make a coin-shaped electronic gizmo, and they'll make it gold in color, and they'll put a B on it as if to say it's like a dollar, is the S with some lines. Bitcoin is real. No, it's not real. There is no such fucking thing as a Bitcoin that you can see, touch, and hold. They make it look like gold so you can believe it has value like gold, but it doesn't. It's a Bitcoin. And we're going to find out if it ever does continue to live and exist and hold value. For now, they're trading them for $86,000. Line up and get your invisible electronic nothing if you wish. And if people want to keep doing that, I own 0.0004 of a Bitcoin. I don't have a lot of faith in it, but there's other things out there. So Robin says, I wonder if mortgage companies would in the near future accept gold and silver as payment. That would cut out the middleman fees. Well, I do know that in the state of Florida, you can pay your taxes with gold and silver. Many states have now said you cannot tax the sale of gold and silver. You want to know why? Because it's money. If I stood next to you and I handed you a $10 bill, does the government have a right to take a tax because I handed you a piece of money, piece of paper, right? You did $5 worth of work and I gave you a $5 bill. It was a fair, even exchange. There was no profit, and profit is income, so there's no tax, no income tax. So states are saying no more taxes, no more state tax, right? No more. It's money. It is what it is. But yeah, I'm sure mortgage companies in the near future are going to do just that. They're going to want something of value, right? Let me just say this. What if you have a mortgage and you owe $500,000 to the mortgage company, the bank, and we get hyperinflation, and it's a miracle. All of a sudden, your $10,000 in the bank is worth, well, it has the same purchasing power as $500,000. So you're getting paid in huge amounts of cash for something that before you get, say, $10,000 in a year. Now you get $500,000. Can you take that $500,000 and go to the mortgage company and pay off that mortgage with inflated currency? Well, yeah, the banks are screwing themselves with that. You bet your ass they would love to be paid off in gold and silver. Yeah, we'll find out. We're going to find out exactly where this all goes, folks. For now, the system is changing. It's modifying. It's growing and learning. And I keep this guy right here on me all the time to remind me that it's real and that it's money. Heidi checks in and says, for 30 years, people kept telling me that gold would decrease. And she looks like she laughs with a ha ha. Yeah. No, gold is real, folks. If I had bought gold when I wanted to buy gold after, let's say, the year, 2000, I could have bought, silver. I could have bought silver at $2, $3, $4 an ounce. It's kind of an investment. It certainly increased in value, didn't it? And gold is becoming more scarce in the ground as well. And here's the deal. Right now, the world is burning through approximately, and this does not count military usage of silver, which is probably anywhere from 100 worldwide, 100 to 500 million ounces a year. The world is currently using 1 billion ounces a year, but the world is only producing anywhere from 750 to 850 billion ounces. And that number is tracked by the Silver Institute. There's a little bit of fudging in there, so that's why I say 750 maybe. They claim up to 850, but there's a deficit if you notice the numbers. Consume a billion plus, but only producing 0.8 of a billion. Okay, so there's a deficit. It's disappearing. To open a new silver mine takes anywhere from 7 to 20 years because of permitting, environmental concerns, cost of raising capital, exploration. It takes years and years and years and years. So guess how many new silver mines have been opening since silver jumped in price and value? 0, because it's going to take 7 to 20 years. We've been in a silver deficit. It's getting consumed. We're in a gold deficit. The banks are hoarding it. Nation states are hoarding it. Central banks, private banks, large family offices, they're hoarding it, and they can't replace it because the time it takes to open a mine, not to mention, it's not like you or I could just go out in our backyard, down the street, take a shovel of dirt, put it in a gold pan, and get a bunch of nuggets or a bunch of silver nuggets. No, you got to go find it. You've got to find it in industrial quantities so you can industrially mine it, not with a pan and a shovel, but giant shovels, giant haul trucks, literally tearing down a mountain, extracting all the precious metals out of it. Hard to find deposits of precious metals, gold and silver, that you can do that. Hard to find it. And then you get to go through raising money, permitting, environmental impact studies, local populations, especially if it's in indigenous people's land like in Canada or Mexico or South America. Mexico and South America have the most silver production, folks. Where is it going to come from? Very hard to do. Uman says, I just saw a story about Samsung buying the full capacity of a mine in Mexico for 2 years to reopen it. Is that the Fresnillo mine? Or down in the Fresnillo area? Yeah. Okay, yeah. One of those huge mines down there. Yeah. Samsung has an industrial battery for electronic vehicles. Each cell of the battery has approximately 1/2 to 1 ounce of silver, and it takes dozens of cells to power a car. So why do you want to use that? Why use a silver battery? Well, because it charges, instead of in 8 hours, it charges in 8 minutes. Or 10 hours, it charges in 10 minutes. And instead of going 300 miles to 400 miles, they go 600 to 800 miles. So you double your charge time. Double your distance. But it also charges very quickly. So it's much more useful for storing energy from solar. If you've got like off the grid housing, or your automobile charges faster, it charges more fully. You can go further. It's a much better battery metal, and Samsung has this battery. But don't worry, China will buy an EV with the Samsung battery, take that technology and start making it in China. So yeah, count on China to steal that technology, mass produce it themselves, use a shit pile of silver. Ruh-roh, silver is going to become more and more scarce. It's harder and harder to find. Permits take years, if not decades. And then mining capacity. You can't just say, we need more silver, go mine more. They're already mining the fuck out of it as fast as they can. And they haven't increased in the last 5 years the amount of silver output. 70% of silver, by the way, comes from zinc, lead, copper mines, industrial base metal mines. If the economy slows down, the world doesn't need as much as much copper or zinc or lead. they're not going to get as much silver. We're going to see a reduction in the amount of silver, even though it's still wanted for solar panels, which is consuming right now 200 to 250 million ounces a year. And that's just set to increase. But wait, who's buying these silver panels? Solar silver panels. Whew, it's a lot of S's. Well, governments are. Energy companies are. Massive corporations are. And they've got lots of money, so they're not going to stop consuming silver, but they're going to have a harder time getting a hold of it because it relies on base metal mining. And just like a silver mine or a gold mine, a copper mine, a lead mine, a zinc mine, a base metal mine, guess what? They take anywhere from 7 to 20 years to open from the time they make a discovery, a deposit. Hey, we found some good dirt over here. It's got some shit in it. And literally, folks, get this. A ton of ore. What is a ton? 2,000 pounds of dirt and rock. In order to, they figure out, they say, this is, look, how rich is the mine? How rich is the soil, the dirt, the mine? Well, they figure how many ounces of silver you get per ton of dirt. 2,000 pounds of dirt produces roughly anywhere from 5 to 10 of these. Gold, you don't get ounces per ton of dirt or ore. You get grams, literally grams. The average grams per ton of dirt. If you took your pickup truck and filled the whole fucking bed, that's a ton of ore. You'll get 2 grams of gold. And that is going down and down. And same with silver. A couple of years ago, you got 20 ounces per ton. Now you're getting 10, and the number's falling. And for every, ounce of gold, you only get, in comparison, 7 ounces of silver. It's 7 ounces of silver for every 1 ounce of gold produced around the world. Silver is not worth nothing, while gold is worth $4,400. Right now, $66 an ounce is nothing compared to the $4,400, $4,400 in gold. That ratio is changing quickly. Gold is going up. It's at an all-time high today, and it's going to keep going up big time, bigly. But silver, as gold is going up, silver is going to go up faster. It's going to outrun it. It's going to outpace it. The silver-gold ratio right now is at 66 to 1. The lowest we've seen, by the way, since way back at the last precious metals run that was destroyed by paper trading. Paper trading. That's right, folks, paper trading. Back then, they could just issue more paper and drive the price down. Guess what they can't do anymore? They can't do the paper game with gold and silver. You want to know why? Because they aren't just trading paper anymore. Now they want the gold. They want the silver. The banks and the corporations. They want the gold. They want the silver. So they're taking it off the exchanges, and now there's a shortage. You can't sell paper to someone who wants to buy gold and silver. So the paper is being shown to be worthless. They're getting squeezed. And maybe we'll talk about the banks later, but they're being hurt. JP Morgan, HSBC, Bank of America, they were all short. In other words, for every dollar that goes up, they were losing approximately $1 to $5 billion. They have to quit playing this game with paper, and now it is about real commodities, real assets, real things of real value. And so you're going to see gold and silver go up. And that's part of why I wanted to do this broadcast. It's something we've been talking about, anticipating, expecting, watching, observing, is now coming to pass. As the paper fiat bullshit, monetary, plastic banana, good time rock and roll, dollar, yen, yuan, euro, British pound, they're all being proven to be worth less on a daily basis, and gold and silver are worth more. And they're not going to be able to destroy the value. In fact, I could talk about this for fucking ever. But governments hold gold in reserve. Governments around the world, like the United States, are flat fucking broken in debt, past their eyeballs. They may revalue the gold. They'll just say, that's it. We've all decided gold is worth $10,000 an ounce, not $4,400. They could come out and say gold is worth 15 or 20 or $50,000 an ounce. They could. That's what governments do. They want to control the value of things so they have power. So their gold is worth more for them so they can spend it again. Could happen the same with silver. You could wake up one day and it could be worth $10 more, not just $1 more. Or they could say silver's worth $200 an ounce or $300 an ounce and revalue everything, reset. Haven't we heard that phrase, the Great Reset? Yes, we have. And it applies just as equally to real money. They could reset the value of money, even if it is an industrial commodity. They could set the value of it. In fact, I believe somewhere in the Constitution it has those very words. Okay, folks, I'm going to call it quits for the evening. I'll be back at 0:30. Shit has hit the fan in a big way. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, and the wealth that you have, if you have any. And I know of a lot of people who every month will buy one or two of these, piece of silver, just to save their wealth in something that's real, that they hold and is protected from the government destroying its value through inflation or confiscation because it's wealth in a bank. In any event, folks, it is SHTF and it's very real. Get prepared. Be ready up here. Be ready up here because this is where the fight starts. Or this is where you surrender. Chance favors the prepared mind.
Ho, 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 ho.